Hi everyone, good morning, afternoon, or whatever time you're watching. Welcome back to Beauty and the Business. So we are back with me, and we have Shirlyn and Poh Choo. Can you introduce yourself before we start talking?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Shirlyn. I used to be an accountant, now a brain health trainer, as well as a mental health speaker.
Oh, that's cool. How
Yep.
about Poh Choo?
Hi everyone, my name is Poh Choo. I'm a motivational speaker and I specialize in emotional intelligence.
Oh, interesting. So both related to emotional intelligence and brain, I think. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, okay, in general. So let's start with the first question. All right. So in today's world, everything's very fast. Everything's like snap, 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 right? So why is brain health and emotional intelligence very crucial nowadays?
For emotional intelligence, as we all can see now, AI is a very, very big thing. Everybody's talking about AI. Corporates are like, how can I implement AI into productivity, into getting whatever outcomes I want to get?
Yes.
So, in that age of AI, it's so easy to forget the very thing that makes us human, which is our emotions. So, the more AI grows, the more important it is to get in touch with our very core of our being.
Correct.
And there's even a manager I heard recently that says that, oh, AI will grow 1 million times in the next 5 years. So I can't imagine what will happen to our emotions if we forget to learn about it and to get in touch with it.
I see.
Yeah.
So like we shouldn't really be thinking of also competing with AI in that sense as well, right?
Yes, correct. No, we shouldn't compete with AI because AI, they're just machines. We
Yep.
are humans.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So how about Shirley? How about brain health?
Oh, very important, especially in today's time, this
Mhm.
age where AI, rapid changes, everything is just moving very fast.
Okay.
Because of that, our brain is not made to operate at that kind of speed.
Oh, okay.
As Poh Choo rightly mentioned, we are humans.
Yes.
And humans have the right speed that our
Mhm.
brain can operate optimally. And it's like a car. If it's a car, for example, a Myvi that could go like 110, 120 kilometer per hour, is the optimal speed. And you
Yep.
try to just go like
200.
at a 200 speed, yeah, the car will be going at too fast a speed,
Yep.
too dangerous for that car to operate at that speed. So
Mm.
our brain too, for us to continuously operate at that speed, we are really at neck breaking speed. Therefore, we break our neck lah. In other words, our brain cannot when it's not given time and opportunity to slow down, that's where we get mental fatigue, brain fog,
Yep.
poor memory, and stuff like that will start to show up when we do not give it enough rest.
Yep. Understand? So that's why brain health is very important.
Yes.
Okay. So nowadays, right, especially like with social media, people show, doesn't matter corporate or whatever form you're working in, right? People look normal. People look fine. But actually, they're not inside, right?
Yes.
So I assume both of you had previous experiences, maybe working in corporate or whatever. So maybe we'll start with Shirley. Can you share when your own brain, like you look fine, but like internally is like something's going on there.
Like now you don't know that I'm hungry, right?
Yeah, I don't see it now.
Yes. Well, yeah, totally. I agree with you. Everybody looks fine, and especially when we have to record ourselves on Instagram, on any kind of social media, we have to look good.
Yes.
Not just fine, good, right?
Like
So we all
pretty.
have a front to sort of put up with, and we
Mm-mm.
don't really care whether we are feeling lonely inside. We don't really care whether if we have enough rest inside. We don't really care because we have to show up. We have to show up to the world to
Yep.
show that we can, we can conquer, we are resilient and all that, right? So that's the danger thing. So some of I think that may show up. You may start to have, you may lose sleep. You can't sleep very well. It's either you can't fall asleep well, or you fall asleep and then you wake up in the middle of the night.
Like short sleep.
Yes, like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you wake up and you can't go back to sleep. That's very, very often that I keep hearing people telling me, I can sleep, but at 3 a.m. I'll wake up after going to the loo, I can't sleep anymore. I ask why? because there's just too many things playing in my head.
It's like there's too many tabs. It's like tabs open
many
in your
tabs
brain.
open. None of them are closed.
Yes.
And then you just could not go back to rest anymore.
Mm.
And that's one of the first few signs that will show up, or brain fog, poor memory, or another one that occurred to me is I snap at the smallest things. Like my children trip, a glass of water fall down, I will marah.
Very sensitive.
Very sensitive because I did not get enough rest. I was pushed all year round, working and grinding, not working optimally. Like I mentioned, like the car ramping at very high speed, very dangerous.
Yep, understand?
Yeah.
How about Poh Choo?
What was the
Like your
question?
own personal experiences whereby you look pretty, you look beautiful, you look wonderful, but inside you feel like dying.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me share a story with you.
Can.
When I was 19, I started working in corporate.
Okay.
And 19 is a pretty young age to
Very
go
It is.
into
Yes.
a building filled with adults of a different mindset, different maturity level. And I gotta say, at 19, I haven't really been through life yet. You know, I don't really know how to regulate my emotions. I don't really know what adults do. So when I was 19, it was a high pressure office. It was in an accounting firm, and I was in audit.
Of course. Okay.
So whenever I was highly stressed, I would cry at my desk, because I don't know how to handle it. And then there was someone actually came to my desk and they told me, you shouldn't cry at your desk. It's very unprofessional. You shouldn't cry in your office. It's very unprofessional. So from then on, I learned, okay, I shouldn't show any emotions at my desk. So what I did differently is I went to cry in the toilet instead.
Okay.
To cry, right?
Yes, still need to cry.
To let go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every day I would feel stressed especially during peak period, go in the toilet, cry for 5-10 minutes, come out, act like nothing happened. And bear in mind, I was the top performer in my team. I was just doing everything very well. So at the breaking point was when I realized that every Monday when I go to work, I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? I'm becoming so numb to everything. And even though I was making career progressions, I was making good money, but in the end, I wasn't happy inside. And even my friends are like, wow, you are doing very well in your work. But emotionally, I was just empty. I felt like I was a robot going to work. And that's when I realized that, whatever career progressions or titles you get, in the end, your well-being is more important than any of those things.
Yes, it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it to pay with your well-being for those names, titles, right?
Correct. So at the expense of yourself, like what you say, social media, you might look very nice, but at the end of the day, you're just looking for the external validation every day. Okay, what can I post today? What can I post today? In the end, you're not taking care of your insights.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Shirlyn and Poh Choo. That's very interesting for your personal insights as well of what you experienced. So that is why both of you decided to pursue. So you are in brain health and emotional intelligence, right?
Correct.
So these are both your own companies that you focus on now, right? Okay. So since you both have different focuses, okay, maybe we'll start with Poh Choo now. Okay. So I'm pretty sure companies come to you, okay, with different challenges. Okay. How are some of these challenges related to emotional intelligence?
Okay, very good question.
Okay.
So a lot of companies come to me and just ask, what kind of training do I provide? And then also, right now in this era, a lot of people don't really understand what emotional intelligence is. EQ, what is EQ? Oh, I know IQ, but what is EQ?
EQ is a hotel, that's all I know.
Equatorial, very good.
Yes.
Very good. Yes. And then normally they'll just say like, there's dysfunction in the team. I'm hiring all the right people, all the star performers, bam, 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 4.0 GPAs out of uni, MIT, Cambridge.
Yeah.
But why is my team not producing results? And then we realized that there is no human connection in the team. You can hire a team of not so good performers, but with great connection. They can perform even better than a team that is like high performers, but they work in silos.
Yes.
They don't work well together. So in this sense, we work on communication, on how to handle your emotions at work, especially in high stress environments. So we found out that whenever teams are more vulnerable with each other, there's more human connection, more rapport. They are able to work better and produce better results.
I see. So it's usually losing the human touch that is
Correct.
the issue.
Exactly that.
I
Exactly that.
see.
And the very core of our human nature is emotions, and what we also crave is connection. That's why in emotional intelligence, I always tell my clients, never ever be alone. Because when you're alone, you spiral down into that thought, the dark thoughts that you're like, "Oh, I can't get out of it." But go and talk to someone. Go and find a community of like-minded people. You find that, hey, I'm emotionally much better now. So community and connection is what we really crave as humans.
Understand. Okay. How about Shirley? Like companies come to you related to like mind issue, like brain states maybe.
Yes, thank you, Camelia. I want to circle back to what Poh Choo mentioned because I think it's so important to hammer this point because high performers, that's what I observe, performers tend to work in silo. They work best in silo, individualistic, because they are good. They are very good at their work.
Yeah.
And therefore, they are very prone to disconnect, very prone to just say, okay, this is my zone. I'm going to just work on my zone.
Like, I
and
don't care about
bother
anyone
about
else.
anything else. Yes, that's how high performers are. And they can get the job done, for sure, right? Individually, they can. But when a job is so big that you really, really need a team to work at it, that's where they found that, oh, I can't operate now because now I have to juggle so many things and with so many kind of emotions, right? That's why I think emotional intelligence for teamwork is so important, right? So coming back to the corporate training that I do,
Yes.
I do mostly related to stress management.
Stress
Yes,
management.
again,
Alright.
coming back to high performance, they are good at what they do,
Yes.
but there's something that is lacking that I see over and over again is to take care of themselves. They are so good at performing deadline, meeting deadlines, hitting the target, the KPI. What's next? Because that gives them the satisfaction,
Validation.
yeah,
all that.
validation, satisfaction. They will chase for the next goal. But hello, you have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Right. So that's what I see. The few clients that I have been coaching last year, they overdrive themselves to the max until they break. Really, really break down, and that's where you tend to see, oh, why are there so many emotional or mental health issues? Perhaps we have to look back what caused it.
Yes.
Perhaps you haven't had time to look into yourself and take care of yourself, and therefore you break yourself lah.
Okay. So usually like they think so much externally, they forgot the internal of themselves. Okay. So I'm gonna have a specific question for Shirley. All right. So you, from what I understand, specialize in like stress and also brain health, right? But how does brain health related to productivity and clarity?
Oh, I love that question.
You can answer as much as you can.
Yes. You see, our brain controls everything, right?
Yes.
Like even now, I'm hungry. I'm thinking what to eat next, right? My brain is giving me thoughts.
Yes.
That, oh, my previous experience with this particular kind of food, that particular restaurant, I like it. I had good experience, and I tend to have that thought of wanting to go back to that particular restaurant.
Yes.
So your brain is in control of anything you do. Your emotional health, in fact, if your prefrontal cortex, which is this part of the brain, if it's working well optimally, it helps you regulate your emotion much better. If our prefrontal cortex is somewhat sleepy or lacking in its function, you will find that you will be snappy at things like getting angry. That's why I snap at the smallest things because I was too tired. My prefrontal cortex never get a chance to relax, unwind, and and rest. Therefore, I snap at my kids. So that is the first few signs that you will see. So when you see that, oh, okay, that's how I am behaving right now. It's not really I'm weak or I'm not resilient enough. A lot of mental health school of thought tend to, or advocates tend to say, oh, you need to have this resilience.
Mm.
But if your organ is not functioning well,
If it's too tired
yeah,
already.
how are you going to have resilience?
Yes.
You need to first take care of your organ. It's like your heart, your lungs, your pancreas, all the other organs. You need to take care so that they could function well.
Yeah.
So same thing. If your brain is healthier, you have higher capacity, higher reserves to do all the things that you want to do, including managing stress.
Yes. But we forget always rest.
Yes.
Because I think everybody does try all this weird stuff, right? But they forget rest,
Yes.
sleep,
Yeah, most efficient.
most efficient. That's why we have to like sleep. Okay,
Sleep is important.
sleep
Yes.
is important.
Is it okay
So-
if I
so-
add to that?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so a lot of times we take care of our devices. Recently, I had a friend, oh, my iPhone battery is at 70% battery capacity. Time to change a new one. They pay 800 ringgit just to change the battery.
Yep.
And then I realized that a lot of people take care of their cars, their devices, but not themselves.
Yes.
They sleep late, they eat junk food.
Yep.
So why taking care of dead things when you don't take care of something that's alive?
Yep.
Which is
Yourself.
Yes,
Yep.
yourself, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Poh Choo, for adding. So I actually have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we are going to talk a bit about emotional intelligence now, right?
Mhm.
So at work, how does emotional intelligence show up or disappear?
Oh, great question, because that relates to what Shirlyn mentioned about prefrontal cortex and the parts of your brain. So normally when we are in high stress environments, like me when I was in the accounting firm, and I was
yes.
crying and stuff,
Yes.
the parts of your brain that are for logical thinking totally shuts off and it goes straight into survival mode. And your brain doesn't know the difference between you getting chased by a lion in the wild or getting mauled by your boss in the office. It
That's
just
the lion.
Yes, that's the lion in the office.
Yes.
So it completely shuts off. So normally, in this context, a lot of people's EQ shut down and disappear when they are in high pressure environments. That's what we call emotional reactivity. People tend to react. Whenever people react, they're more angry, they're more frustrated, they throw tantrums at you, more reactive, because that logical part of the brain shuts down. And then when they cool down, the logical part turns on again, and then they realize, I don't know why I did that.
Yep.
I don't even know why I was angry at the time. Then they're like, why was I angry? But it was uncontrollable.
Yep.
Because your brain, when it's in survival mode, it wouldn't want you to think. It would just do everything for you. Like,
To survive.
Yeah.
To
Yes.
survive.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So that's how emotional intelligence disappear. Like
Yes.
the intelligence part disappear and the emotional just like poof.
Correct. So then when we learn how to train our EQ and nurture it, then we learn how to self-regulate, become more aware of these emotions. But of course, it takes a lot of practice. Imagine 30, 40 years of being on autopilot.
Yes.
You cannot expect overnight, oh, I learned this that day, I should be able to do it now. It's not so easy.
Understand. Okay, so since we're talking about like, how it is affecting the emotional intelligence and all that, right? For both of you, but you can take turns answering. What are some of the invisible signs? So not obvious. So like obvious, of course we can see, right? Like if they're yawning, that means they're sleepy or whatever. But what are the small details, right? The invisible that people don't notice unless they focus on themselves, or other people focus for them. Like you can notice for your friend or your workmates, indicating that their bandwidth is like getting low and low and low. Yes. Whoever, Poh Choo first.
Yeah. Okay. So imagine a car. Okay, you see the petrol is like, it's coming into E already.
Yes.
And then the light starts to turn on. But you continue driving maybe because you're on North-South Highway, no petrol station. Okay? What would happen? Yeah, it would slowly slow down and then eventually stop.
Yep.
And then you cannot move it anymore. Same as emotional bandwidth. We notice in people, they tend to respond slower. They tend to be not in present. They tend to be like in their own day, sort of in a dissociated state. So that's when they are tired. And also in NLP, we learn, because I'm also neuro-linguistic programming trained,
Okay.
we also learn that we have to notice people's words, the words that they use.
Okay.
People will say that I'm tired, I'm drained, I am running on empty. It's literally describing what they are feeling inside. It's like your petrol tank is empty, their cup is completely empty. So those are the signs.
Those invisible signs.
Yes, correct.
Okay, Shirley.
Shirley?
I like this question because it's very, very important. If we are around friends that we notice anything off about them, it's also good to kind of ask, how are you?
Yes.
How are you really? You know, not just have you eaten? Right? So, because being Asian, I find that especially Chinese, the first thing we ask people is, have you eaten? That's a culture. But how are you really? We seldom ask, right? So if we notice signs like this person, or he or she used to enjoy certain activities, and now he said, "Oh no lah, I just want to go off early and be on my own and things like that. Do not want to join any more activities that he or she used to enjoy." That could be a sign
Understand?
that either he is struggling with something or he's on low power, right? That's one. Or things that used to bring joy now no longer bring joy to you. That's another sign that, hello, you need to slow down. You need to rest and check in on yourself. So those are few signs. Like I mentioned just now, you lose sleep, you have poorer memory than you used to. Another thing that I thought high performers used to have this struggle is that they find themselves they want to do something. There's so many goals, so many to-do lists, but they're not motivated.
The
to
drive,
do it. They're not motivated. They will have their laptop on, their PC on, the tabs all on.
Yes.
But they're just not motivated to do it.
They're just like staring.
Staring blank,
Yeah.
not knowing what to do next. Those are the telltale sign that your body, your brain is trying to tell you, hello, you need to slow down and take care of yourself so that you can go further. So those are the signs. It's like a signpost, right? That we see from North-South Highway. We can actually see, all these different poles that tell us how many kilometers. And those are how our body sort of signals to
ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is not just for yourself, but also for other people to notice.
Yes.
Yeah. Porsche, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I really like the part when you say the how are you. Because in Asian context, whenever we say how are you, the automatic reply on autopilot is good.
I'm okay.
I'm okay. How are you? But if you add the word really at the back, how are you really? Oh, sometimes you see people's tears start to well up.
It's like,
Yeah, they will have a few seconds of freeze moment. They're like, oh, really? You're asking me?
like really.
Do I have to tell you everything now? Right?
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. And also when you ask the word really, that's when they really pause and like, actually, yeah, how am I? Because even I didn't ask myself, how am I?
They are not aware of actually how they really feel.
Correct.
Yes.
Because it's so fast paced nowadays. Everything's like do. What's next? Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Shirley and Poh Choo, for sharing about that, because it's correct. Like even myself, sometimes I'm like, when I'm so tired, I'm like, oh, okay, where am I? Right? So we just need to like take a breather and all that. So talking about breathers, so we've been talking about the causes and symptoms of how you see like fatigue, stress, and how you're not aware of your emotional intelligence, your own brain health. Right? So I want to go back to Shirley, because you are specialized or focused on brain, and as you mentioned, the brain controls everything else of our body, right? You can't even deny that. That is fact. Okay, so what are some habits that you recommend that will help in developing your brain health?
Good question. So basically, there are 4 areas that we want to. There are big areas, but we want to always pay attention to these 4 areas. Neglecting any one of them won't be helpful.
I see.
Okay, maybe we can take small steps into these 4 different areas, but do be mindful that we want to look into all these 4 areas. So, are you ready? Here
Let's
I go.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the first one is physical.
Okay.
For sure, right? You have to be physically fit. Your brain needs to be physically healthy. So how do we be physically healthy? Is to eat good food.
Yep.
Hydrated, right? Rest, sleep. So those are the factors that contribute to your physical brain health.
Yes.
Second one is psychology.
Oh, okay.
So we can't put these two, tear them apart because they both intertwine and influence one another. So psychology is like your thought, like NLP. What kind of thought are you thinking? What is your self-thought like? What is your dominant thoughts throughout the day? If you have a pen and paper, you write down throughout the day, what am I thinking the most? Am I thinking about food? Am I thinking about work? How stressed this work is? Am I thinking about, oh, I'm so happy because I could contribute and I'm bringing value? What is your dominant thought? Or are you troubled by something around you? So that could be affecting your brain as well.
I see.
Your
Okay.
thought, our thought shapes our brain. Okay, so physical, psychological. Third one, we all Malaysian love this. Not food. Social.
Oh.
So
Say, I wanted that. How is that?
yeah, I sort of hypnotize you all to think about food. So
Yes.
sorry. So no, it's social. Yeah, we need to have social so that all this dopamine, oxytocin, all these good neurotransmitter can be produced not by taking pills, but by your own body. So we need to have connections. We need to have friends. We need to have your buddy to just chit
Any
chat.
community,
Yes.
whatever.
So social connection is important. Last one is spiritual.
Okay.
It's not about religion. It's about how you feel about yourself, your life here on earth. Is it serving a bigger purpose, bigger than you? You notice people who have that kind of drive.
Yep.
They have a very different prioritization in their time and their day because they know they are serving a bigger purpose, something bigger than them. They're not selfish. They're always giving.
Selfless.
Yeah, selfless. So that in a way you'll be thinking, this poor person keep giving, but it's different for him. For him, he's connected to this bigger purpose. To him, it's his purpose.
Yes.
So no right or wrong, but spiritually as well, we need to have that connection to know that we have a purpose. So that's how I would define spiritual. So 4 areas: physical, psychological, social, and spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, see, brain fog. Okay, physical, spiritual, psychological, social.
Yes.
Okay. So with these 4, right? Of course, each of them is important, and you should not neglect to try to do anything, right? But let's say as Malaysians, let's go like in our country ourselves. What do you recommend for someone to, which sector should they try to do something first about it? That's like the easiest way, like okay lah, you nak buat ni senang je.
No brainer lah.
No brainer lah.
Oh, okay. That's actually a lot. It depends on your personality also.
Okay.
That's why I actually give out this brain health assessment. So for people who are watching this, and there's a link that they could click to get the brain health assessment. They can actually take this for free.
Oh.
All right. I will be charging soon. Okay. So in the meantime, grab it. Right.
Okay.
Because it will take me time and for consultation 1-to-1 as well.
Yep.
So it depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what you are missing as well. So like for example, what Poh Choo mentioned, someone who could be a very lone ranger. Social could be something that is high on his need. So he might want to do something in his social life so that he could fill up that tank. Like for me, sedentary could be biggest thing, right? I could be like, not moving, sitting down on a desk throughout the day. That could be me. And different people have different needs.
I see.
So, but the easiest thing for everybody to do, and it will help anyone, is deep breathing. And you can do anywhere, anytime, on your work desk, in the toilet, in the car, anywhere. And it gives you tremendous amount of benefits. So how you really do deep breathing is you inhale 3 count, hold for 1, and exhale 6 count. You're going to count 6. Your volume of exhale is double the volume of inhale. That is deep breathing.
I see.
So when you do that, even when you are anxious, like you have a presentation to show, or you're talking to your boss, right? That deep breathing will help calm you down.
That's very insightful, Shirlyn. Because that's a lot of information for people to be aware of, for people to take that first step. And if they don't know, again, free assessment, pre-assessment by Shirley. All right. So let's go to Poh. Okay, so Poh Choo, let's go to you in regards to emotional intelligence. So right now, as we are talking, there are people working in the office or wherever they might be, right? So to meet you, okay, maybe to understand better about their emotions and all that, it will take time. So besides maybe booking an appointment with you, like how booking appointment with Shirley, is there any quick technique, I wouldn't say fix, but quick technique for them to manage their emotions when they're at work?
Okay. So apart from what Shirlyn said, which is breathing, I want you to think about, actually no, let's talk about breathing.
Okay.
Think about when you are really anxious or when I were to release a lion now and chase you. I'm also planting this lion in your head, like how Shirley is planting food. A lion were to chase you, what will you do? You can feel your heart rate rise.
Yes.
And then your breathing is
Shallow, yes.
very, very shallow. So a lot of people now also have anxiety attacks from shallow breathing. So when you are aware of that breathing and you intentionally say, I want to calm myself down, you breathe deep into your belly, it will automatically regulate your nervous system. Because your nervous system doesn't really recognize what's really going on in your surrounding. If you send it pressure, it will
pressure.
Yes, the pressure. But if you tell it it's calm through your breath, then it will naturally regulate itself.
Okay.
Apart from breathing, the one that Shirlyn said, the 3 seconds in and 6 seconds out, you can also do this technique called anchoring. So anchoring is an NLP technique. It's like, for example, when you smell a certain smell. Hey, this smell reminds me of my mom. She used to make rendang for me. It smells like my mom's rendang. So that's what we call an anchor, because that memory is anchored to that smell. So in this sense, what you can do is whenever you find yourself ROFLing, meaning like rolling on the floor laughing, and like with your friends, you're like, oh, this is giving me abs when I'm laughing. You can do a physical gesture to anchor that emotion. So let's say you can touch your knuckle here, or some people also like to rub their earlobes. So you're anchoring in that way that emotion to that memory of ha 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 ha. Yes. So next time, whenever you're in a stress environment, your boss is like screwing you, just like
remember that time.
Yes. And your mind will automatically take you back to that time, like, oh yeah, actually it's not so bad. Ha 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 ha.
Okay.
Remember the ha ha ha, right?
Remember that laughing, that fun moment.
Yes, that feeling of it.
Okay. So that is for like when you want to maybe like, I would say that that's like switching emotions, right?
Correct.
But how about if you're in a situation that it's not so comfortable, but you want to reframe that also, besides anchoring? Is there any other technique? Reframing the situation at that moment.
Reframing the situation at that moment.
Yeah. If you have any. So like so maybe like you said, like again, like maybe your boss is like yelling at you, so you do this, so that's like an anchoring as well, right?
Right.
So like, is there any other technique or way for you to like, maybe like you're so anxious that you don't remember to rub your neck? Yeah. So like, is there any other way for you to reframe that situation, not just emotionally there?
Okay, good question. This one you can, I like this technique, is putting myself in the other person's shoe.
Okay.
So a lot of times when you're having a bad time, the attention is on yourself. Everything is me. Oh, what am I feeling right now? But if you were to put yourself in that person's shoe, you're like, oh yeah, maybe that person is justified. One very good example I like to give is when you're driving on the road. Okay, when you're driving on the road, sometimes you like to cut queue.
Yes.
Right? You're like, oh, cut queue. Sorry, cut queue because I'm in a rush.
Yes.
We are justified.
Yes.
We expect other people to justify us. But when other people cut queue, like, hey, this what are you doing? No, don't let you in.
Yeah.
So it's always a very wise choice to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Because what if the person's in a rush? What if the person need to go toilet?
Yeah, shirit berit. We don't know.
Shirit berit, right?
Right.
So you never know. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good as well. Because like, try to be in their shoes. We never know, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So since both of you have your own companies and you specialize in different sections as well, even though it might be related, without naming anyone, okay, or sharing the experiences that they went through, can each of you share maybe a client that they had a lot of issues, right, that was affecting them at work or maybe overall in their life, and how being aware or making changes to their emotional intelligence, okay, their emotions, to their brain, to their stress management, and their life just turned 180. Okay. Many.
Yeah.
So Shirley, since you have many, let's go first.
Okay, so I do group coaching.
Okay.
Okay, group coaching. So I typically coach a group for 30 days.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll put them on 3 simple habits that I want them to inculcate for better brain health.
Okay.
Okay, because we know that when your brain works right, you work right.
Yes.
Okay. So there's this particular person that come to me and say that, Shirlyn, I have big problem with my memory. She's very young, in her
Okay.
20s. So she said, I have big problem and I've gone to check up and do blood tests and all that. Apparently my hemoglobin was very, very low. It's a
Oh.
genetic thing.
Oh.
Because it runs in the family, so I can't run from it. So I just happen to have very low hemoglobin. And therefore, there's not enough blood flow going to her brain. And therefore, she always suffer from memory lapses, brain fog, and such things like that. So because she's in a working environment, so you can imagine if you can't really remember a whole data for a short period of time, right? How anxious will she be?
Yes.
She's always anxious. She told me she's always anxious, always worry that she will forget this, forget that. I say, don't you write them down? I write them down. Then I forget where I wrote them down. Right? So then I said, okay, don't worry about that. Let's work on these 3 simple habits that I mentioned just now, the 4 areas, to help them with their brain health. So the person said, okay, I'll do it. So for 30 days, she very religiously do it.
Okay.
So 30 days. After the 30th day, she told me that my memory has improved.
Oh, that's
She
wonderful.
said, I still have short memory lapse here and there,
Okay.
but I could very quickly, in a matter of seconds, recall back, oh, I was in the room to pick up this thing. Now I remember. Okay, she can take it. So because of her improvement in her memory, so now she said, oh, I'm less anxious. And I have better outlook and more hopeful for my future. Because otherwise, I'm quite worried that I can't really progress far in my career because of my issue, right?
Yep.
But now because of her little tweak and little changes to her lifestyle, she could now have better memory, less anxiety, and now she has better hope, more hope for her career progression.
Understand? That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Because, like,
I'm
you
very
know,
happy.
if you're worried about your future, then you're always going to be anxious.
Exactly. And she's very young. Yeah.
20s is still very young.
Yeah, very young.
Yeah. Poh Choo, about you? Like, drastically, like, you see changes once they're, like, more aware of their emotions and do something about it.
So there's this lady client I trained last time. She was always very triggered by her boss.
Okay.
Every time her boss just sometimes gives her more work or gives her some feedback, even if it's a very neutral feedback, she will come to me like, oh, I don't know why whatever I do is just not enough for him. Why is it not enough? So it trickles down because she has her own subordinates. Then she manages them, and she also trickles down and also tells them off and make them feel like they're not enough. So it's like a whole cycle of not enoughness in the entire team.
Yeah.
So we were talking about emotional triggers and why she was triggered.
Okay.
And then we found out that it was stemming from her relationship with her father. She always felt that her father always felt disappointed in her because maybe she didn't get into some university or become the person that he wanted her to be. In her own head, yeah? So unwillingly, but she still did it, she went and reconciled with her father and talked things out. And then turns out it was her own misunderstanding. Her dad loves her, her dad never thought that she was not enough. So in the end, all this was playing in her head, and she was getting triggered without knowing why she was triggered. But then when she goes back to office and she sees the same manager again, then she's like, actually, I'm not triggered anymore. I'm not triggered anymore. Because a lot of times when the person triggers us, it's not about that person, it's about us. Triggers are often a reflection of what's inside that needs healing. So when she learned how to be aware, okay, this is a trigger, I recognize it, it's not that person's fault, it's me. This part of me still needs healing. Yeah.
And her trigger actually came from an assumption, right? Because you mentioned when she actually talked to the dad, the dad never thought of it.
Correct. So a lot in our lives, right, we always create images and realities in our head.
Yes.
It's real to us, but it may not be real to other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes when the person says something like, why did that person say that to hurt me? But when you talk to the person, but how the person just say, no, I just say
how it is lah.
Yeah, I just say how it is.
I don't mean any bad to you.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about you, but you terasa, right? So it's that trigger inside of you.
I see. So people need to be aware more of that trigger.
Correct.
I see. So now that person, the lady that you shared, she's doing better at work?
Oh, much better now. So now much better synergy in her teammates and everything. No longer a whole team of triggers.
Yes.
They're working much better. Better relationship, better connection.
I see. That's wonderful. Because, it might just need one step
Correct.
to make it all better. Or
Yes.
make it better in general.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, most of the problems that we're talking about, it's related to work. Okay, in a working environment, right? So from both of your perspective and opinion, and since you both have working experiences, right? What are some of the outdated habits or practices that, again, no need to reveal, okay, from what your own experiences are, that is causing these issues, like habits from the company itself? Would you or Shirley?
I think personally it is the glorifying of suppression.
Okay.
Meaning, remember the story of when I was crying at my desk?
And don't cry.
And then, that is unprofessional. Why do you take things so seriously? But that's just how I was coping with my stress.
Yes.
So a lot of people in the workspace now are suppressed until they're numb. That they are no longer human. They're like robots, just going to work, and then they wake up and just go and then go back home, and it's like autopilot.
Yep.
And then during weekends, they don't even want to do anything. They lost interest for everything. So suppressing emotions can be dangerous because ultimately, right, emotion is a form of energy.
Yes.
Think about it. When you're sad, you want to release it by crying. When you're angry, sometimes people want to be physical.
Yes.
When you're happy, some people clap. Oh, I need to release it.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so happy. So what happens when you suppress it? And it's correct, it's all inside.
Yes.
And in science, we learn, right, energy cannot be destroyed.
Yes.
It can only be transferred.
Yes, transferred.
But if you don't transfer it, it stays in your body. This is why people get physically sick from suppression.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shirley?
it's so true about this suppression, right? I have a friend many years ago. She experienced this. She all of a sudden she wakes up and one day she could not walk. Yeah, she could not walk. So she went to doctor after neurologist and all that to check the nerves and everything. They check the brain. Physically, she was fine.
Okay.
Perfect. Everything was running in her blood flow. Everything was good. Then the doctor said, I think I will refer you to a psychologist.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe something mentally that is disturbing you. So she went on and see this psychologist. So she found out that it was her grief of losing her father that she did not sort of release it.
I see.
She was just holding it back because when she lost her father, she was very young. So she did not know how to deal with this grief and also do not want to evoke the sadness in her mom because she want to make sure her mom is happy, right?
Yep.
So she sort of suppressed it herself. Suppress it. She didn't touch anything that belonged to the father for years until she's like adult already in her 30s. And one fine day, all this emotion just show up in her body and in the form of muscle. Something was wrong with her.
Muscle failure, something.
Yeah,
Okay.
weakness. She just could not do certain things. So she could not walk very well and things like that. So after going through these therapies, she released all this grief, know how to deal with it, so on and so forth. After a few months, in fact, she used art therapy. She used art therapy to release her grief. And after doing it for a few months, her physical improved. Her muscle came back. She could walk. She could no longer pain. She could do all the things that she was able to do. So how strong and how powerful is our emotion?
Yes.
Right? If we suppress it, it will go somewhere. It will not just disappear.
Yes.
It will be somewhere.
Somewhere in your body. And
yes.
You think you're suppressing it now, you might not show it now,
Yes.
but years later.
Yes, exactly.
So that will be an issue as well.
that is.
Okay, okay. So I want to circle back to at the start of our conversation about high performance, right? And I believe in the world nowadays with social media, with the web, right? They have they have social media, and like, you can just Google search stuff, even ask Gemini or ChatGPT,
Yes.
why am I experiencing this?
Yes.
Like, why am I experiencing this, right? So I assume high performers, they know how to be better or react better to certain situations. But again, not all, I'm not saying all, but there are some people who just chooses to revert to how default, the poor state that
Yes.
is causing them the issue. Why is that, Shirley?
We have all heard this term, old habits die hard.
Yes.
It is very true. Why? Because our brain has already wired it in that way. Every time somebody scold me, I will go and eat some junk food. Okay? Every time I feel being scolded, not enough, I will eat junk food. Every time I do that, I created a circuit in my brain, a wiring that is so strong that it is very, very hard to shake it,
to cut it off. Yeah.
because the repetition keeps empowering this wiring, right? Every time somebody scold me, I'll eat the junk food.
Yes.
Somebody scold me, I'll eat the junk food. So the next time I have somebody scolding me, junk food. So it's already there. That's why it's old habit die hard.
Yeah.
So really, we need to stop that by creating new wiring. We can't just say, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to eat this junk food when somebody scold me. Let's say if the person has the awareness, but it's very hard.
Yes.
So you need to replace. Instead of just taking it away, yes, you take it away, but you put back something good that is beneficial for you. For example, yes. So somebody scold me, instead of eating the junk food now, I start journaling. For example, it's a healthier habit.
Yes.
It doesn't make me go away, and I can write out and pen out all these pent up emotion.
Yes.
Release.
Yep.
Right. Either through art, through journaling, through anything, or you can talk to a friend.
Yes.
Camellia, come, I need to talk to you.
Okay,
Right.
come,
That
let's
kind.
go.
So that's how you actually release your energy. Okay, you need to talk to someone. So somebody scold me, now I journal. Somebody scold me, I journal. Somebody scold me, I journal again. I'm rewiring my brain.
You create that new circuit.
Yes, exactly. So you need to take off something that is not beneficial for you, put in something that is helpful for you. Yeah, don't just leave it empty, because it will not stay empty. Yeah, very soon the junk food will crawl back up. Yeah.
Poh Choo, anything?
Actually, very good point, Shirlyn. That's a very good point, because our brain is always looking for the shortest ways to do something. That's why when you created the circuit already, right? Your brain is like, oh, automatically just go back into that pattern.
Yes.
So in NLP, we learned something called pattern interrupt. Whenever you want to go back into that pattern, you interrupt that pattern.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And then there's also this thing where there is an illusion of choice in our lives.
Okay.
Sometimes we feel like we have no choice. I have this client, she always sees a cockroach, and the first thing she does is
scream.
She runs.
Oh, she runs.
She runs. She'll scream and run.
Okay.
That is her choice.
Yes.
She doesn't realize that whenever her husband comes in, the husband can, it's okay, can pick it up and throw it away.
Oh, okay.
Then she realizes, actually, that action of running and screaming is not the only choice I can choose.
Yep.
Somebody actually chose to pick it up and throw it away. So there's another thing where you can choose actually what you want to do, but you have to be aware of it first. Yes. Interrupt the pattern first. If let's say you want to go to junk food, interrupt it. Choose. Realize that you have abundance of choices in your life, actually, not just that one choice.
Okay. So you can pair up like the switching of that habit with also like cutting first.
Yes.
Like, wait, why am I choosing cheesecake? Salad, something. Like that.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Shirlyn and Poh Choo, for sharing that. I hope that people can try to apply it, right? Because again, the first step is just doing it, right? Okay.
The first step is awareness.
Awareness. Sorry, I am not an expert here. They are.
Awareness.
Awareness. Okay. So also about high performance, right? So you guys were like talking about Myvis and then like the optimal speed is like 120, but then we try to go 200. So this is just an analogy, right? Okay. So again, of course, a Myvi can go 200, but it'll crash if you go so often, right? So nowadays, in the working environment, we don't necessarily just have to go really fast. We might crash. We should also be optimal, right? So we have to get sustainable working. Okay, we can sustain ourselves long term. So do you guys have any tips on how to start doing that?
In a corporate setting?
Corporate setting, preferably.
In a corporate setting, I would say that it always starts from the leadership.
Okay.
Yes, because if the leadership do not really show action to support and believe that the well-being, the emotional well-being, mental health is important for your workforce, for your employees, they could hire a lot of trainers, come in and help with this stress management, give them tactics, tell them how to do NLP. Oops, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Tell them how to do NLP and stuff like that. It will not work. Because the leaders will have to set the culture, right?
Yep.
Set the tone in the
In
workplace,
the
right?
yes, yep.
So that people will feel safe. Why do we want to do that? Because these days a lot of people tend to say that the new generation is like strawberry.
Okay.
You crush them, pecah.
Oh.
Tak boleh crush. Mas sayang
Oh,
like that.
lembut saja. Okay.
Lembut. And some I tend to see two school of thought because especially the older generation. I'm not saying who is right and who is wrong because different generation grow up in different environment.
Correct.
Right? So let's say the older generation, they usually would tell me, if it come from them, they would tell me that they are strawberries. This younger generation are strawberries. You cannot crush them, they break. You got to sayang like that. So do I agree? Yes, to a certain extent.
Of course.
But if you flip on the other side, being in their shoes, you want them to be comfortable in their workplace, in their culture, so that why? So that their brain will not go into survival mode. When they sense threats around them, like the boss turning into a lion and things like that, right? If they sense those underlying threats that maybe people don't even utter. They're just like, that one, rasa, must be careful. Oh, this footstep come in, wow, everybody
cannot.
that kind of thing, right? You have to, make sure you be alert, right?
Yes.
Things like that. If people are always operating in that kind of mode, they go into survival mode, and I can tell you that team will not thrive. Why? Because when you're operating on survival mode, there's no creativity. Our creativity brain goes to sleep.
Not here right now.
Not there anymore. No more creative juice. You can bang the table how many times you want. You can lock them up in the room, put them in the meeting room, tell them, give me this idea. It will not produce good idea. They may produce some idea because they want to get out of the room, right?
Yeah, but
it's not creative.
That.
Yes. You need to let them feel safe so that their brain is not in survival mode and they can start to think. So as the older generation or even the leaders, why this is important, why you want to really create a safe environment for a culture for your workplace is really for your team to thrive, for your company to grow well, for your profit to continue to increase, for sustainability. That is the best effective way to do it. That's my take.
Yes. So, Poh Choo, so again, because you did mention, you answered some questions at the start. Like, of course, like high performance, right? They can get the job done. The output is there. But in like long terms, like Shirlyn mentioned, for example, like we have 4 quarters, right, in working. Maybe they can do it in quarter 1. Maybe they're getting there in quarter 2. But then quarter 3, quarter 4 is like, because it's not sustainable, right? So Poh Choo, how about you? Your opinion?
Okay. So someone once told me that if a trolley has 3 wheels, can it move?
Yes.
It can, right? Can. Because you can just kind of still like
adjust.
But if you are pushing it for 1 week, maybe still okay. But 1 month, 1 year down the road, then you're like, oh my god, my arms are so tired. Cannot. Sometimes in Tesco or something, you get a trolley where the front wheel is like,
oh, yeah,
At first you're like, okay lah, can lah. After that you're like, oh my god, I'm so tired. I just need a new trolley. So at the end of the day, people get emotionally burnt out. So I actually really agree with Shirlyn. It starts from the top.
Okay.
I have met bosses who are like, I want all my employees to behave this way, but the
Wow.
leaders are behaving the total opposite.
Of what
Of
they
course.
want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course lah, the subordinates will look up and like, hey, my boss also do that. I also can do that lah.
Yes.
Right? So always create the culture, the atmosphere of being safe. Because if I were to ask you now, if you were to draw me a very nice painting, but I'm gonna put a knife at your neck, how? It's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
But
Because I'm scared.
Correct. If I give you a whole week now, you think about it. Nah, here's some food. I think about food again. Here's some food, your favorite food. I'll bring you holiday after this. Wow, happy je. Wow, then okay, you draw. Wow, you draw the nicest painting ever. So actually, brain health and emotional health really happens when people are safe in the environment.
Yeah.
Understand? Okay. So thank you so much, Shirley and Poh Choo. So before we go towards the end, right? So as both in your own expertise, right? I'm pretty sure you all have your own practices, beliefs that you go throughout your day at work and what you share with your clientels, right? So for both of you, again, it doesn't have to be the same. Okay, even if it's the same, it's okay. What is that one belief or insight that if you can like make everyone have it, that you want to download in their brain and make sure it has forever in their professional brain, not personal, professional brain, what would it be? A belief or insight? One only, one only. Try.
Okay. Mine a bit deep.
Okay.
It is the only way is through. The only way is through. A lot of people want to go over humps. They see an obstacle, they just wanna avoid it.
Yep.
Avoid it and go around it.
Yep.
But the only way to conquer it is to go through it.
Yep.
Same with your emotions. If you're feeling a certain way, don't suppress it. Go through it. Cry it out, talk it out, go through it.
Okay.
And that wisdom also applies in a way that when there's a lot of things happening on the outside, go through your inside, fix your inside also, so that you respond differently to your outside. Because ultimately, all your reality is in your head.
Yes.
How you respond is in your head.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Shirlyn?
Sure.
In continuation to that,
Okay.
when you say work on insight, right?
Yeah.
Our most natural inclination is think it through. Even when we say think it through. It gives me a hard question, I will think it through.
Yep.
But you know what? Our brain is not that powerful to think it through.
Okay.
We have to write it out.
Oh.
When we engage our other senses, our other motor to write it out, we activate our brain.
Oh.
We activate our prefrontal cortex so that it is not hijacked by our survival mode.
Oh.
Then our creativity will come out, our reasoning will come out, our logic will come out.
I see.
Write it out while you work it through. I think that would be a good combination to end this conversation.
Okay.
Because I don't want people to start sitting on a corner thinking it through and then do not have an outcome. Write it out. Whatever that's bothering you, whether if it's emotional, professional, or personal, whatever, write it out. What you write, it doesn't matter. Write it out. How long do you have to write? Doesn't matter. Until you feel it's sufficient.
Okay.
So writing is such a good way to express, also put things in perspective. Sometimes after you write it out, kecilnya problem ni, like,
oh, why did I even feel that
it's not that big a deal actually, after you write it out and put it things in perspective, then you see, okay lah, it's nothing lah. You know what I mean?
At least I let go lah, okay lah.
Yeah, so then they will see better options, put things in perspective. So write it out.
Write it out. Okay. Write it out and go through. Yes. Okay. So thank you so much, Shirlyn and Poh Choo, for sharing. All right. So since you both provide services, right, to manage stress, emotional intelligence, or whatever, can you share to our listeners before we end this on, again, it can be personal, individual, or maybe even companies. They want to provide a better workspace environment, right, for their workers. How can they take the next step, and how can they reach you guys for that next step? Shirley?
Okay. Thank you so much, Camilla. I really enjoyed this conversation. So for me, remember the brain health assessment is still available. Take hold of it, click the link, and then you'll be able to do a quick questionnaire.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the first. Second, if you like to read, I write a lot on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So LinkedIn, my handle, the link will be given as well.
Can, of course.
Yes. So you can just click the link and follow me. I write a weekly newsletter about brain and emotional health.
Okay.
So that's where you could reach me, or even my Instagram account.
Okay, so they can just send you a DM as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Shirley. Poh Choo?
So same as Shirlyn, I write on LinkedIn.
Oh.
So follow me on LinkedIn. Okay.
See ya,
Or
follow.
follow and connect. I'm happy to connect. And if you have any questions regarding NLP, getting over your fears, fear of cockroaches, fear of lions, wanting to eat another food but you keep gravitating back to junk food, come. Yeah, have a chat with me. Send me a message on LinkedIn. My handle is in the link as well.
Okay.
Also, for corporates, there is a free EQ assessment to find out where your employees are at, see what you can do for them. And yeah, if you want to chat over coffee as well, I'm happy.
Okay, all right. So they can just reach out and they can go from there, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, right. So thank you so much, Shirley and Poh Choo, again for sharing about brain health, okay, stress management, emotional intelligence, and how it can help everyone. Be it, of course, it's for corporate, it's for the working life, but it's not just limited to that. Whatever you shared, they can also apply it at home, right? For personal life, right? Because even like like stay-at-home moms, they experience different stresses, right? We go back next time.
Yes, we'll go
but
back
they can also apply whatever you shared. Both of you shared, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope we can see you two again.
Yes.
Right. That is all for today. Thank you. Bye.